I'm Sharon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. About a year ago, I started to learn the treble recorder, and I have to admit that I have so enjoyed digging right back to basics, going right from the very beginning, starting a completely new instrument. And I have to say that it's opened up a whole new world of music to me. It's been such an exciting journey, even in these early beginner stages. And before I get sort of entrenched in what I want to say in today's vlog, I will just say that if you wanted to learn the treble recorder, I found this John Pitt's treble recorder from the beginning book particularly helpful. You know, with all the pretty colours and so on. It's a very, very helpful tuition book. And also the new recorder tutor here by Stephen Goodyear. And at the back of this is a very, very helpful trill fingering chart that I shall be starting to draw upon now that I'm perhaps past, well, I say past, kind of past there's a hole in my bucket, London's burning beginner pieces. And I've been working my way through the ABRSM grades, and I'm kind of just sort of staggering my way into grade 4 really. I'm only just beginner stages. I'm not practicing absolutely assiduously. This is just like a little hobby on the side. But as I've been going through the recorder pieces and learning a little bit more about the instrument, it's got me questioning and thinking about some of the pieces that I've taken for granted for so many years. Because as a flautist, the Handel flute sonatas, loads of Bach studies, and also of course Telemann have all been staple parts of my flute education through the years, a very, very big part of my musical journey. And I was rummaging through the shelves, as I often do, and I came across my grade 5 piece from when I was about 15. And it was a Franz Reisenstein partita, and I absolutely loved the jig from a grade 5 flute. And I realised that it's actually for recorder Blockflöte, as it says. And perhaps now I've done a little bit of practice, perhaps now I can revisit that favourite piece of mine for the instrument that it was originally intended for. And it got me questioning so many of the pieces that I've played. And it gets us down that road of the whole authenticity debate. Because can we ever be truly authentic unless we've got an absolute sure idea of what everything sounded like? And we haven't, because there were no recordings. And we may have some of the instruments, but we won't know necessarily absolutely how they would have been played. But I think lots of study and lots of research has given us a very good idea. And I was thinking about these pieces, and we know that these would have been written for the recorder actually. And I've realised that as I move into the grade 4 and 5 syllabus, I'm now going to be revisiting some of these flute pieces, but actually on the recorder as they were intended to be played. And I thought, well, I know we have the recorder as we know it, the Blockflöte, or there's another name for it, I'll find it in a sec. And then we have the transverse flute, which is more the sort of the size and shape and played sideways as the flute, but it wouldn't have been like the flute that we now have. There would have been no mechanisms and keys. It was open hold. It was just the sideways recorder really. I thought, I know, I'll just dig back into my school books and let's see what Annie Warburton has to say. She saw me through most of my school life, so let's see what she can say. And she's really great. This book's so great for just little general, easily digestible little potted histories. And she says that Bach and Handel's flute parts were mostly written for the end-blown recorder type of flute known as the flute à bec, that's it, or Blockflöte, which is the recorder as we know it. Interestingly, she says that the recorder at the time had a sponge at the headpiece to absorb all the moisture. And you think, okay, I can see that seemed like a good idea at the time, but cleaning that out doesn't sound such a great idea. A bit of a shake and a blow surely is better than squeezing out a sponge periodically. Anyway, more to the point, we'll carry on. However, when in 1717 Bach heard the transverse flute, the kind blowed sideways, he began to write for it. And then it goes on to say that eventually the modern transverse flute became the main orchestral instrument and the recorder almost died out. Almost, but not quite. It was not to be. And this is a really interesting story. A few recorders still existed, and Arnold Dolmetsch and his family, I thought, oh, my friend gave me a Dolmetsch recorder. That's a good name. So Dolmetsch and his family used to give concerts of old music with the old instruments. And the story is that one day his old recorder was stolen from his luggage, so he set to work to make a new one. Of course he did. And the modern use of recorders in Britain dates from this event. So here we are, here am I with a Dolmetsch recorder, and he's the one who kept it alive, and I'm enjoying that today with all of my recorders that start with his little rejigging after a theft. And so I was looking at sort of some of the pieces that I'm playing and thinking, yeah, these will have been for recorder. And that got me thinking, because I have a problem with many arrangements, and I just think some things aren't appropriate. And I thought, well, how do I feel about the fact that many of the things that I've been playing were actually for recorder and then were sort of reassigned to flute? And I thought, well, I'm okay with that, because it's still, not only is it a wind instrument, but it's all part of the same Fipple family. It's just showing the way that it's developed over the hundreds and hundreds of years, and that's a natural progression in the same instrument family. And I've found that as I've become more comfortable with the instrument and got to feel as I'm more familiar with the pieces and the fingering and the genre, I'm starting to feel more comfortable playing certain things than I am others. And for example, I'll just dip into the ABRSM Grade 3 recorder syllabus that I've been practicing up until now before I move on. And I thought, well, I really like the Renaissance. That is absolutely period music for the instrument. So I'm fine, playing the William Byrd La Volta. There's a prelude from 1690 here. And so, of course, Renaissance and Baroque music, absolutely, definitely for recorder. In fact, I think that's my favourite. I just love playing those, that sort of period on the recorder. But, there's lots more music out there, so let's see what else there is to offer. And it's funny though, looking back at the Reisenstein partita that I did for my grade 5 all those years ago, looking at the cover, I remember a vague sense of feeling like, oh, that must be a little bit Renaissance-y or Baroque, because it says it's written for the recorder and the harpsichord. You thought, well, that sounds very Baroque. And actually, it's a modern piece, isn't it? Reisenstein, was he born about 1911, something like that? And it's a really modern piece. There's no semblance of Baroque style about it at all. I just was a little bit clueless and just played what I was told, and that was that. And it's such a great modern piece, and you just think, well, okay, modern music on the recorder, if that's what it's written for, great, that's what I'll play it on. And then I came across Solveig's song from the Peer Gynt suite. And I thought, yeah, I think I'm quite happy playing that actually. I feel comfortable with that on the instrument because it's kind of folk-like. And the recorder has definitely got a very strong heritage in folk music. So I think, yeah, folk music, it's definitely got its place. And although I'm not desperately fond of folk music as such for myself, I think that the Solveig song sits comfortably with me for that. Of course, there are some modern C-piece where you have your sort of fruity modern piece. And so, okay, I'll do those, and when you're learning, I think you have to do arrangements. But one of the pieces, let me see if I can find it, here we are, is, this was from the grade 2, was a Mozart Allegro. And I just found that the one genre that I just don't feel happy playing recorder on is classical. It just feels so very wrong. And this, I've talked about this before. And I guess if we only have one instrument at our disposal and we want to play lots of different styles of music, then we'll do arrangements, and surely that's better to play than not at all, and that's true. So perhaps I'm talking from my luxurious standpoint of being able to play on different instruments, and I'm much happier playing a Mozart flute sonata than I would be playing an arrangement on the recorder, and I've just found that I can't do that. In the grade 1 there's a Haydn piece adapted from the string quartet, and I know that at the very beginner stages everything's an arrangement really, because we just need to be able to learn to play a tune, and I've worked through that and I'm happy to do that. But now that I'm coming outside of that and I want to get more into the instrument as it should be in its original kind of home of music, I want to be playing things that are absolutely appropriate to that instrument. And so I've found, as I'm playing my new instrument, my new recorder, I'll leave things like Mozart and Haydn for perhaps the piano or the flute. But on the recorder, I'm so happy to be playing Baroque music. I'm so happy to be revisiting the pieces that I've played on the flute up until now, to be coming back to them and to feel like I'm actually giving them the first go as they were perhaps more originally intended. I can't bring myself to play classical music though. It just doesn't feel right. Thanks for listening. Bye.